Good morning. Welcome to Mr. Boyd's Living Room. We're here today with web designer extraordinaire John Seitz, and this is another episode of Between Two Ferns with Steve Boyd. So, welcome, John.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You like the ferns?
They're beautiful.
Okay.
Very fluffy.
So, you're a web designer.
I am a web designer, yes. Yeah.
How about you tell us how you got to be a web designer? Let's start out with where you grew up, high school, college, all that good stuff.
All right. Well, I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. And I went to high school at St. Louis University High School with Mr. Boyd. After that, I went to Northeast Missouri State University with Mr. Boyd. And then it's now called Truman State University.
That's right.
Studied business, marketing, got out of there, and I actually did business and marketing for quite a while. I was fortunate that one of my first jobs out of college was that I got to travel around the country with CBS Sports. We would travel around and set up in malls and do these little shows and whatnot. So that was pretty exciting. Did that for a while, and then wound up going out to San Francisco. Lived out in San Francisco for a little while with, and what brought me out there was I had a job offer from another company, kind of doing the same thing in marketing. And I moved out there and opened up the San Francisco market.
For what company?
For Plymouth. So Plymouth was had a new line of cars that they were introducing, and they wanted to promote them. So I would get the cars and put them in a certain place and hire people to go run the show and make sure that they knew what they were doing. And
How'd you go from CBS Sports to Plymouth? Was it something that you quit and looked for a new job, or you were hired away?
I was hired away, actually. I was working for CBS Sports, and I was in a mall setting up for the show, and there was a guy from the new company that I was going to go to, and he was also doing some sort of promotion in the mall, and he said, hey, we're going to open up all these markets, and we need people to help us do that, and you guys would be perfect. It was me and another guy that were doing it. And so I said, yeah, because our tour was about to end, and I was going to need some work anyway. So yeah.
Okay, so Plymouth Place, and then you moved back to St. Louis for a while?
Yep.
And then you went on a motorcycle trip for a few months,
I did.
and then what'd you do?
What did I do after that? Then I think I went back out to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And so there I didn't quite know what I was going to do yet, and I started working, at a restaurant, and then I decided to go back to school. So that was really cool. I've always wanted to try graphic design. This was still when the internet was kind of new, and so I knew that there was going to be the jobs there. There was a good career there.
Growing sector.
Yeah, growing sector, and so that's what I studied. I studied graphic design, and then I kind of took that into web design, and got another degree. I got an associate's degree from City College of San Francisco.
City College of San Francisco, associate's degree in graphic design.
Yeah, it was called graphic communications at the time. So the programs they have now are quite a bit different, because what I was studying for was basically print design, so making posters, books, and whatnot. Which, of course, now that's
Almost obsolete.
It's almost obsolete. So it's more, everything's focused on web. So that's a lot of what I did was I taught myself how to design for the web, as well as taking some classes.
So what'd you do with that new certification?
Well, when I got a job, you kind of got to start small. I got a job it's kind of laughable now looking back on it, but it was an entry job,
Was this the designing brochures?
I was designing brochures for dentists' offices. Yeah.
So, and while you're out there, you were part owner of a cigar bar and a bunch of other things, and got married and all that stuff. And so you're designing pamphlets for dentist offices.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So I knew that was a starter job, but what you do is you just kind of go and you work for a couple of years for somebody, and you build up your experience, and you build up your resume, and that's what I did. And then I went on, after about 2 years there, I found a better job working for this company that designed patient education materials. So if you were
Oh,
gonna
okay. That's
have
the
a
one.
surgery or do whatever, there'd be these little things that they would hand you and tell you all about what was gonna happen, and that was a little more, that was better, I really liked that, that was kind of more professional along the
And it
lines
had
of
a
what I
bit of an
wanted to do.
artistic touch to it.
Yep, had some of that, and got to work with photographers, writers, a lot of doctors,
So a lot of collaborating project type stuff.
very much so, and I had to kind of learn what other people did, and understand how they fit into the process, and, yeah.
So that liberal arts education probably suited you
Well,
well.
paid off
you
in
know.
spades, for sure, yes.
Okay, so after you're doing medical journals or medical pamphlets,
Yep.
and then what came next?
So what came next was I moved back to St. Louis,
Okay,
and I got a job with Scottrade, not Scottrade Center, where they play hockey, but Scottrade is actually the financial services company in St. Louis, and they have the rights to the Scottrade Center, but that was a big leap for me too, because that was more into the digital web design.
so you weren't like a trader or business guy for Scottrade, you were still doing web stuff?
Yeah, well, I went from print design to now doing web stuff, and, that was where I wanted to be, and,
Now, how, when you got that graphic communications from City College in San Francisco, what other classes or training did you take between then and Scottrade, or was it just kind of on-the-job learning type stuff, or teaching yourself, or?
yeah, everything. What I learned in San Francisco when I was doing the patient education material stuff, what I learned there was really how just to work with different types of people and what it means to collaborate and, take initiative and sort of bring forth your ideas, how to present to people, that sort of thing. And then in the meantime, I was also taking classes online in web design, and that was a brand new thing at the time, with online classes too, so.
Was this through San Francisco Community College?
Yeah, that also was. And then I was just kind of teaching myself as well. And it's one of those things that you kind of have to know, almost any career you go into with something, especially like web design, is that you have to see the writing on the wall. You have to understand that things are always changing, and you kind of have to understand where they're going to go. So that's, I was doing print design, but I knew that, okay, that's going to go away, web design is going to take over, and that's what I was preparing myself for, and that's what I did.
So you gotta be prepared.